morning, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet. We have myself and Olivia Grisham on the call.
Hi, everyone.
Well, Olivia Miller. We do have all of the phone lines open right now so that in the event that you might need to ask questions once we start the demonstration portion, if you would like to mute your phones until such time that you do need to ask a question, that would be wonderful. And so let's get rolling. Oh, okay. All right. So you guys are just called in. Okay, no worries. Let's take a look at dashboard numbers. If you want to type your questions in, you can do that. I can't get, there we go. All right. So we have some new rows that we're talking about on the dashboard today. So I made some modifications to our paper report here. We have the small region column by the offices, and then we have new cohort invitations that are pending, those that are past due that need to be accepted, eligibility pending, and then eligibility past due, and then referral pendings, appointment not scheduled. Most of those are for the re-engagement. So in the first column, the new cohort invitations that are pending, those are the yellow row. We're going to go over this again in just a couple of minutes. Those are the yellow row items, and it looks like Decatur has 7 that they need to check in, new invitations that they need to check in. Otherwise, it's just a few odds and ends here and there. We have quite a few that are past due. We have Uptown has 5. And then others are 1s and 2s. We do need to try to get those squared away, because the longer it takes you to accept them, the longer it takes you to get the eligibility review done, and the longer it takes you to get the notification to the customer if they are not there with you. Eligibility pending, we have 2 that are pending, and then we have 2 offices that need to schedule an appointment. South Loop is one of them, and Murfreesboro is the other. If you, we're going to go through this right now again, but if you schedule the appointment, if you're doing the invitation, then you will need to schedule the appointment. And we're trying to get all of the agencies to delineate that there is a new cohort appointment setting there for you. Referral pending, appointment not scheduled. Mid-South is the big winner with 23. So Mid-South, you need to get that taken care of. Southeast, you have 11. And then Western has 7. No-show CBO intake, that means that the customer did not show up for their initial CBO intake appointment. This is an opportunity that can't be passed up time-wise, so please take care of those items. East St. Louis, you have 4. Quincy, 2. Mid-South, you have 3. Others are just 1s. I'm sorry, Bloomington has 3 in there as well. There are no referral rejected that need action, no longer appropriate for services. There's a few up in Cook County that need to be handled. There are several that need sanctions recommended by the agency, 3 down in East St. Louis, and some 2s and 1s otherwise. So those are our dashboard numbers. Please, please, please take care of those. Please, please, please pay attention to the dashboard for the new cohort. We are working on a tight time frame with those, and we are working on a tight time frame to move people in and out of the system, because we only have through the end of the year and the very first couple of months of 2019 to get these people in and out. So I'm pulling this down. This will come out in your notes in your minutes, so please heed those items. So if you didn't get a chance to check in, please do. Okay, I'm going to pull up my screen. We're going to quickly review the invitation, the dashboard, and the eligibility verification. So everybody should be able to see my screen. I'm going to enlarge it a bit here. I do happen to be logged in as a DHS caseworker in TEST. To invite a customer, you would land on the Customer tab where you log in. You go to Invite. You can invite customers who were not already randomly assigned. So those items, those customers can be invited here. Test is taking a little while. Down here we have customers who have been invited, and you can view their information. So we're going to add a SNAP customer, though. So I'm adding a customer. If you want to find out what training programs they can participate in, you can click on View Available Training Programs. This brings you to the old page 3 of the ILEPIC.com. I'm going to just pick Chicago because training programs in those. And I'm going to pick architecture, health science, and hospitality and tourism as my areas of concern. The customer needs to tell you if one of these items applies to them. For example, a blind person, a legally blind person, would not be a good truck driver candidate. Enter the zip code. You can see things either as a map or as a list. I would recommend the list. We are, Olivia, help me, we are going to be filtering these by distance. Is that correct? Are you on mute?
Yes, I am. It's out on production now, but the production IL EPIC.com Step 3 site will now have a sort buttons that you can filter distance. So you can see the closer training programs, and then it'll filter down to the further away ones.
And are they going to be able to filter length of training as well?
I will have to check with Jonathan. We are going to eventually incorporate that. Right now, we're just getting what we absolutely need, and then we'll come back for the nice to have.
Okay. On the program itself, you can click on the program name. It will pop up. You can print it here from the screen, or we have created a PDF document that is available on the EPIC Pilot Partner, EPIC Program Resources. On the full list of resources, we have the training programs by region over here in the resources column. And you can click on this, and this is all of the programs. Now, minding the fact that all of the most current information will be on the customer page, on the page that you're looking at right here. That is the most current information, so you want to make sure that you're checking here at least first. Okay, once you've selected a program, then you can start entering information, and I am going to enter a new customer, and you will have to verify the Social Security number. It's the only number that we are using as a verification point. The customer must be 18 years old as of the day that you are doing the invitation. So if they're 18 next week, they got to come back and you got to invite them next week. Trying to go too fast here. Entering social, the city, the zip, and the state. The state needs to be Illinois. The phone number, I'm replicating my Social Security number here just so that I can verify it if I need to. You will select your office from here. In production, we do have all of the Cook County offices now. In test, we have not added them all. I am going to pick Mid-South just because. You will indicate whether or not the customer is mandatory or voluntary. Voluntary customers can participate. They will be, our target still is an ABOD, but we will accept anyone who has an exemption as long as they do not receive TANF. This customer is going to be mandatory. I'm going to refer them to a safe haven just because I know I have some appointments there. You will be able to select the contact, and based on information that is in the Restricted Resources tab, based on this list of CBO contact list for DHS staff on the Restricted Resources page, this was updated on the 16th. If you open up that list, anyone who has a P by their name is considered the primary contact. So Frank Wallace would be for a safe haven. So as I'm selecting, I would look in my list and select Frank Wallace. I'm in test, so he's not going to be there. So I'm picking Tammy Tester. And then if I pick not able to verify eligibility, I'm going to have to put a reason. If they're ineligible, I need to put a reason. If they are eligible and not receiving TANF, if they are eligible and exempt and not receiving TANF, you do not require a reason. If they are verified TANF, you have to put a reason, and the reason is going to be TANF recipient. And if they are not EPIC eligible, it means that they have moved to a part of the state that is not part of the EPIC study, or they have moved out of state. So I'm going to verify this customer as SNAP eligible and not receiving TANF. If I save the customer, it saves the information that you entered, but you will have to go back in and invite them separately. So my suggestion is to invite them at the same time that you are filling in the information. So you would save and invite customer to orientation. Once that happens, you can review the information that was entered, that you entered, to make sure that the information is there. Select an orientation date and try to pick a date that has new cohort in the invitation time frame, so you can invite the customer. Now, if the customer is sitting right there with you, you can invite them to an orientation that's tomorrow. If you have to mail the invitation to the customer, you have to abide by the DHS policy for sending information to the customer by mail, and I believe that is 10 days. Is that correct, Leslie? You're on the call. I would trust your call on that. 10 days. Okay. So I'm going to invite this customer for May 29th, and today's the 18th. That gives me that 10-day time frame. So as you can see now, the orientation date fills in up here. Once I submit verification and send invite, a new account has been created. It tells me what the username and password is. So you can write that down if you need to. The agency, the CBO agency, now does the application for the customer, but you can potentially have the customer complete the application, but it is definitely not required by DHS to do that. It is a CBO responsibility at this point. So I'm going to close this. Once you close it and the customer has been successfully invited, as you can see down here in the corner, you can then print excuse me, the 2151 referral form, and that will include the date for the orientation, the day that you're completing the application. And Leslie, I did get confirmation on this. The CBOs do not give the customer a 2151, so that date does not have to conflict. They are required to schedule the customer for 12 business days away from the day that they're inviting the customer, so it has to be 12 business days. So if they're inviting them today, then if the CBO is inviting the customer today, it would be 5/9. It would be June 6th before they could add the appointment for the customer. So that will alleviate that. Right now we are working on trying to get the office filtering into this item, but in the meantime, you would want to write Uptown or whatever office you're at. I think I did Mid-South on this. Mid-South FCRC, and enter the address. If you are doing this, then you can save this to your files. If you know the customer case number, you can enter that in there. But at this point, we are working solely on Social Security numbers and on the Illinois WorkNet ID that we are establishing for that customer. So then you can print and mail this, or you can hand it directly to the customer if they are sitting there with you. So that's it for an invitation from DHS to a customer for the item. Now, what you'll need to do is check the dashboard, and on the enrolled dashboard, the items have been added to the top. And we do have the most current version of the directions in the file pod at the underneath the chat pod, so you can download those. And we do also have the most current version of the CBO contact list in the file pod below the chat pod. So if you want to download both of those, you can do that. Remember, if you click download, it will take you out of the webinar. You'll need to come back. Now, on the dashboard, we have a little bit of a glitch right now. So you'll need to select the agency if you want to look by agencies. We are working on getting this updated. We just launched Monday, so we're finding all of our little faux pas and trying to get them all fixed this week. So when you're looking at this, you will see the items for you, for your office. So right now I have one customer that was added by a CBO who still falls within the 48-hour time frame. And I have on the 48-hour time frame to accept the application to verify the eligibility. Then we Hello?
Dee, are you there?
My Bluetooth just went out. Hang on a second. Let me try it again.
Okay, you sound better now.
My headset went out. I'll just have to hold it by my shoulder. This is going to be difficult. Okay, so then you have 3 customers in here who have
Are you there, Dee? Looks like Dee dropped off the call. We'll give her a second to call back in here. And here she goes. She's coming in. But as Dee was saying, we have 3 customers who are over the 48 hours. So we need to make sure we're taking a look at those customers as soon as possible and verifying eligibility. Are you back, Dee?
Yes. Yes. I'm back.
Okay. You sound a lot better now. I can hear you clearly.
Okay. All right. Okay. So where did you get to? The 48 hours?
Yes. We had the 3
Okay.
customers who are over.
Okay. Then the next 2 lines are completing the eligibility verification. My suggestion, if at all possible, is to accept them and verify the eligibility all in one fell swoop and just get it done, because then that way the agencies can initiate contact with the customer, pull them in sooner. I know it's a lot of work, I know, but I don't think these customers are going to be coming in droves. I think it's going to trickle in. This week and next week are probably going to be the most customers that are going to have to be taken care of, because the CBOs have been on this since the beginning of April when we told them about the new cohort. They've been saying, when can we start? When can we start? So I think the numbers will be high this week, and then I think they will trickle in. So keeping track of the dashboard, checking it every day, and getting on that verification will be much easier after this first week. You do have 11 days to verify the eligibility, because especially the mandatory areas are required to have a family assessment associated with the case now. So that's the 4001 form, and you will need to have that completed. It can be completed by phone, so the CBOs are asking for a current address and a current phone number, and the customers are instructed to answer the phone so that they can get the verification completed. If you need to talk with them to verify that what they're putting into the application is correct, give them a call. If you can't reach them, send out, I believe it's a 267 to call them into the office so that you can verify the correct information and complete the family assessment. And that's when you would then finish their application and give them the 2151. And so then they can then still report to that appointment that was scheduled 12 business days away. Once you have verified the eligibility, they will drop down into one of several rows. They will have verified eligible with appointment not exempt, which means they're mandatory basically. Verified eligible with appointment exempt, and this is based on what you verify on their application. And then whether they are mandatory or voluntary, FNS would like us to track this information. That's part of the radial buttons that you're checking on the application. Or if a customer is verified not eligible, they'll show up in either one of these two green rows or this red row here, and they will show up in mandatory or voluntary. Then they will also drop into this application not started row, and they will drop into this referral pending scheduled appointment. So once a customer completes their application and attends the CBO, they will have a 2151 uploaded, and the balance of the dashboard remains the same. Everything is the same as it was for treatment and the people who are randomly assigned, except for these first two sections for the eligibility verification and the application completed. Now, what you will need to do is to verify eligibility on a customer, and we have 3 customers here who have not had their application accepted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that number. I have Fred Waters and Craig West, and I am hoping that these customers have Social Security numbers that I can verify. And I'm not going to be able to do that. All right. So let me get back to my list and check. All right. I can verify this one. Okay. So now what you would do is you would click on this box right here that says IDHS accepts the eligibility request and will contact the customer. So you click that button right there. That will move them out of the accept verification into the eligibility verification required. You will enter the Social Security number by entering the information into this row and then check their address, check their phone number, give them a call if they need to, if you need to verify that. If it is not your office, if it's a different office, then you will pick on your region. You will only see the region offices that you have access to. You will pick the office that they're actually being invited or should be working with. So this customer, instead of Mid-South, is actually going to be at Southeast. They're a mandatory customer. You will not be able to change the agency if it was reviewed, if it was referred from an agency. This will be grayed out, but you may have to select the primary contact. Excuse me. And then you will put in what the eligibility is. And if, again, if you're not able to verify, if you are marking them as ineligible, the eligibility reason pops up. If they are TANF or not EPIC eligible, you will have a reason. But if they are eligible, then you would mark verified eligible, and you don't have to do any reason. So I'm going to verify this customer is eligible. I'm going to save and invite the customer. And what that then does is it confirms the information. You will not have to check an invite date. This has not been updated in test, but it works this way in production. So then, all right, let me try this again. In production, you do not have to select an invitation date. In production, you would then have a button here that says customer successfully invited and print 2151. Print 2151. You can print it and mail it, because if the customer's not with you, they should receive it by mail. If they are with you, you can hand it to them and they will attend the orientation that was originally scheduled by the CBO. So that's the who, what, where, when, and why of doing an invitation and doing the eligibility review. Any questions from anybody that's on the call? All right, I'm going to move on to the next item. If you have regular SNAP E&T programs out of your office and you would normally refer customers to an agency who has been handling regular SNAP E&T, and you want to send them to an agency, you can do that through the invite process. But we have had a couple of offices sending customers who are regular SNAP E&T to agencies who are part of EPIC but are not really, they're not receiving regular SNAP E&T customers. So we need to be careful with that. Olivia, I think you're up.
All righty. So we have quite a few small updates that are going to be coming out. Some of these you may not even notice. Some of them are a little bigger, and you will notice once we get them pushed out. We're going to be updating the customer export to include some background check information. DHS was wanting to collect information on success rates. So our customer export is going to be updated a little bit. We're going to work on cleaning up some of those rows that are showing blank. We're also going to update the invite export. The invite export will identify if a CBO or DHS staff member invited the customer to EPIC. It will also include the date the invitation was created. We're going to have some additional updates coming out to the invite page as well. We're going to include a new cohort time period filter. Oh, no, that's for the dashboard. I'm sorry. Please disregard that one. We're going to be removing the date of birth that's showing on the customer list. And we're also going to include options to sort on all the columns on the invite page because we don't have those options there. I also verified that the IL EPIC Step 3 training program page has been updated, so all columns on that page can be sorted as well. For the progress page, we're going to have some updates in the 2151 section. Right now, it's not currently pulling in a customer's appointment information if the CBO has already scheduled them with an appointment. We are working on getting that fixed, so when you go to the progress page, it's being pulled in there so you can see it. Even though the appointment date is not currently showing on the progress page, it still is showing in the 2151, so you can still download that and give it to the customer. It has all the information they need. And then we're also going to have some re-engagement updates coming out here before too long. We're going to go over these a little more on our next webinar, but this is going to add an additional step to the re-engagement process. Currently, we're clearing everything out once DHS identifies they're going to be calling them back in to see if they can be re-engaged. We're going to add a step in the beginning of that process that will just let us know who DHS is calling in, and we won't clear them out until DHS has met with them and determined, yes, they still are eligible to participate in EPIC. And then on our dashboard, we're going to include a time period. We have a time period filter currently, but we're going to update that to include a new cohort option so that we can filter the enrolled dashboard to see only new cohort customers if we need to. It will be auto-defaulted to show all EPIC customers. And then on our iStep report, we're updating that, and it will include a print button.
And as always, if you need to see updates that have been done, you can go to, if you want to see what's been done, you can go to the partner guide and go to our updates tab, and we keep a running list of updates that have happened by date as they are taking place. All right. I think we might be done with our agenda today. Olivia, do you have anything else?
I don't have anything else. Not today.
So we were a small and mighty group, and everybody missed out that wasn't on the call today. But thank you to those of you who did join us today. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat pod so that we can answer them for you. And our next webinar will be on June 1st. June 1st, wow.
We'll be halfway through the year then.
Yeah. All right. I don't see anybody typing, so I'm going to end our recording. Have everybody have a wonderful weekend.